A favorite family camping place for decades was in Rumney, New Hampshire. The favorite brook that we all played in was called Stinson Brook, which ran down from Stinson Lake. The feeling of water slowly gliding its way over the top of the hand and fingers under cool, shaded brook. That's where it started. Almost cold enough to pull your goosebump covered hand away, but magnetic enough with invigoration to keep it there. Just slightly numbing with the kaleidoscope of greens and blues and white reflections, unable to resist. Right in front of me. It was as though there was a sort of will, a meaning, or a purpose in the brook. I don't know. A loose design of sorts with feeling and belonging. That's it. It was a sense of belonging to this scene, and it belonging to me, maybe like a sense of home and here-ness. These sorts of cracks in time and space don't happen often, but enough, I think, if you're paying attention, and that was one of the summers I paid a lot of attention. And so, as you can imagine, these big little moments were more numerous than usual. And I'm really glad it was so, because it changed my life. It didn't fix everything from then on out, but it changed it. And it remained with me in such a way that it doesn't take too much to recall and revisit those times of connection and belonging and clarity. The ones that are easy to walk by, but once they catch you, you own them the way a Snickers bar owns the roof of your mouth after it's gone down. And those are the sorts of things I need to remember in these days. Days when, days when you forget. Days when you don't see the whole story for what it is. You get caught up in a chapter or a paragraph of it, and it just seems to turn the whole thing to shit. And it's not shit, but it just does that sometimes. Knowing this, if loss visits me in a multitude of ways in the days ahead, as it is sure to do, I just hope that my memory is not included in my losses. I have, if I sit long enough to pay attention, whole barnfuls of memory, like these, to talk me through my remaining days. It may have been a Thursday, and normally in July the water would not have felt as cold in Stinson Brook, but a day and a half of mountain-trapped thunderstorms let down enough water for the adventurous kayakers to run for the flooded rivers for one last wild ride after the spring floods. Stinson Lake, it looked just the same after the storm as it did before, until you went down to the dam, just down the road from the general store, Mike's place. There, if you followed your ears, you'd see the mass of rushing rain pouring over the dam into the 7-mile-long Stinson Brook, which ran right through the field in front of our family cabin. And that's why the water was so cold that day and powerful. You could hear words that had never been spoken if you stared long enough and sat still long enough at the edge of the white water. And if you did, you never dared tell anyone. You dare not even write them down. It's really amazing how then and now are connected for me. Is it that way for everyone? I know there are ways in which then tries to connect with now, which are really sucky and just shouldn't be put up with. And there's enough bumper stickers and yoga slogans to teach us that. But there are really cool things which connect then and now. Things which I assume are different for everyone. It's supposed to be that way, Like snowflakes, I guess. It just gets me in a cool way. I blame my grandfather, Grandpa Usher. He's the one in the family who seemed so carefree. Of course, being retired helped, but he was the one who seemed to love the sacredness of nature in a way that drew nature close to him. And I'm not sure if it's true or not, because we all get it wrong trying to figure out our ancestors' real stories. Whether they were just our idealized imaginations as kids or not. And I don't really care at this point. I'll go with the myth. I trust it along the way. And you won't know the difference anyway. But Grandpa, he had a way. He was laid back. I usually picture him either laying back in his leather recliner, all relaxed at a family gathering. It might have been pleather. Or sitting on the back deck of his Connecticut home with birds landing on his hands. Or sitting near his cabin in our family camp in the land in New Hampshire, just taking it all in. He's the one that I blame for being laid back, for not feeling like you have to take a certain script and run with it, for standing just a little at the edges of where everyone else is standing to gain a different view. He wasn't perfect, of course. No one is. But in this way, as far as I'm concerned, he was. Looking at things just a little different than the forceful flow of humanity wanted him to look at them. He and Granny, they did a great job infecting the entire family line with this sort of appreciation. He's gone now. Not really, I guess. I mean, he left us. But can you really ever leave? His ghost bleeds through many of our veins, and it's a good thing. It's why I'm still writing and imagining and believing. The last time I visited Granny, she was 97 years old, and she told me just before he passed in her arms, he was busy at his desk writing, shaky Parkinson's hands. And she asked to help him, and he said, no, I have to do this myself. After Grandpa passed, over the next 5 years, she found 14 love notes he'd hidden throughout their humble abode. So, New Hampshire, wow, the brook, the cabin, the smell of ferns crushed under hiking feet. What a wonder for me. The massive birches, the ancient rock walls, the struggling apple trees, the smell of clean, non-New York air that blew on our faces over the brooks and lakes. Damn it. It was like holy water.